The Devil's Footprints That Appeared Overnight. Part 1. The morning that changed everything. Have you ever imagined waking up one winter morning, opening your front door, and discovering a single trail of footprints stretching endlessly across the snow? Not human footprints. Not the tracks of a horse, a deer, or any animal anyone could recognize. Instead, every mark looked like a perfectly formed cloven hoof, as if something impossible had walked through the countryside while everyone was asleep. Now imagine following those tracks. They don't stop at fences. They don't go around walls. They continue over rooftops, across frozen rivers, through narrow gardens, and into places where no ordinary creature could possibly have gone. This wasn't a ghost story. This wasn't a local legend. According to historical reports, something very strange happened in Devon, England, during the winter of February 1855. And more than 170 years later, historians, scientists, and mystery researchers are still debating what really happened. The night before had been unusually cold. Heavy snow covered the villages, fields, and country roads, leaving behind a perfect white blanket that would reveal the footprints of anything that moved before sunrise. When morning arrived, people stepped outside expecting peace and silence. Instead, they found something that would terrify entire communities. A mysterious trail of hoof-shaped footprints appeared almost everywhere. Every print looked nearly identical. Each step was evenly spaced, as though whatever made them had walked with impossible precision. At first, people assumed the tracks belonged to an escaped farm animal, but that explanation quickly fell apart. The footprints crossed high stone walls without leaving signs of climbing. They continued across rooftops where no large animal could keep its balance. Some trails even appeared to pass over frozen streams and deep snowdrifts without breaking their strange rhythm. As more villagers compared what they had seen, one disturbing fact became impossible to ignore. These weren't isolated tracks. The same mysterious footprints had appeared across multiple villages, many miles apart, all during the very same night. No one had seen the creature. No one had heard a sound. Yet the evidence was waiting outside nearly every door. And before the day was over, whispers began spreading through Devon. Some people believed they were following the path of an unknown animal. Others believed something far more terrifying had visited the countryside while the world slept. But that was only the beginning, because the true scale of the mystery would become clear only after investigators started tracing where the footprints actually led. The Devil's Footprints That Appeared Overnight. Part 2. A trail that shouldn't have existed. As word spread across Devon, curiosity quickly turned into fear. Neighbors left their homes to compare what they had found, expecting the mysterious tracks to end a few streets away. But they never did. The footprints continued mile after mile, cutting across fields, forests, villages, and frozen rivers, as if they were following a destination that no one could understand. Reports from the time suggested the trail stretched for nearly 100 miles, an astonishing distance for a single set of footprints. Although the exact length has been debated by historians, one fact remained consistent in nearly every account. The tracks appeared in multiple towns on the very same morning. The footprints were unlike anything local hunters had ever seen. Each print measured only a few inches long and resembled the split hoof of a goat or small deer. What made them truly unsettling was their pattern. Every footprint appeared in a single straight line, one directly in front of the next, as though whatever had made them walked with unnatural precision. Then came the impossible discoveries. Witnesses claimed the tracks crossed tall stone walls without showing any sign of climbing. In several places, the trail appeared on rooftops, where no ordinary animal could have reached without leaving additional marks. Some prints seemed to continue over frozen streams and snow-covered gardens, ignoring every obstacle in their path. Farmers searched their fields but found no resting place, no nest, no cave, and no sign of the creature itself. Hunters followed the trail for hours, hoping to solve the mystery. Every time they believed they were getting closer, the footprints simply continued into the distance. Soon, local newspapers began publishing the story, and what had started as a strange morning discovery became national news. People across England read about the mysterious hoofprints and wondered the same question. What could have traveled across so much land in a single winter night without anyone ever seeing it? As fear grew, so did the rumors. Some believed an unknown animal had escaped from a private collection. Others whispered that no living creature could have created such impossible tracks. And before long, an ancient legend began spreading through the villages, a legend that claimed the footprints belonged to the devil himself. That single rumor would transform an unexplained event into one of history's most chilling mysteries. And once people started believing it, the real panic began. The Devil's Footprints That Appeared Overnight. Part 3. The Panic Across Devon. Within days, the strange footprints became the only thing people in Devon could talk about. Churches, markets, and village streets were filled with frightened conversations. Every new witness seemed to have another unbelievable story. Some claimed the tracks ended at locked doors and then mysteriously continued on the other side. Others insisted they had seen the footprints crossing high walls where no creature could have climbed. No one could agree on what had happened. But almost everyone agreed on one thing. Whatever had left those tracks, it didn't seem ordinary. As fear spread, old religious beliefs and local folklore quickly took over. In the mid-1800s, many rural communities still believed that supernatural forces could influence the world around them. It didn't take long before whispers turned into warnings. The devil walked here. That chilling sentence echoed through villages across the countryside. Parents told their children not to wander alone after dark. Farmers became nervous about checking their fields before sunrise. Some families refused to leave their homes at night, convinced that the mysterious visitor might return. The newspapers only fueled the growing panic. Articles described the footprints as one of the strangest events ever witnessed in England. Some reports even suggested that soldiers, hunters, and local officials had tried to follow the trail, only to lose it in places where it seemed to disappear without explanation. While some of these stories may have grown more dramatic as they were retold, they added to the mystery that already surrounded the event. Then came even stranger rumors. Some people claimed they had heard unusual sounds during the snowy night, soft footsteps, distant cries, or noises they couldn't identify. Others believed they had seen a dark figure moving across the fields before dawn. None of these accounts could ever be verified, but in an atmosphere filled with fear, stories spread faster than facts. As weeks passed, the footprints slowly disappeared with the melting snow. But the questions remained. No creature was ever found. No person admitted creating the tracks. No convincing explanation satisfied everyone. Instead, the mystery only grew larger with time. More than a century later, researchers would return to the case, searching through old newspapers, witness accounts, and scientific evidence. Their goal was simple: to discover whether the devil's footprints were the result of nature, human imagination, or something that still cannot be explained. And that investigation would reveal theories even stranger than the mystery itself. The Devil's Footprints, that appeared overnight. Part 4, Searching for the Truth. As the panic slowly faded, a different kind of investigation began. Instead of asking whether the devil had walked across Devon, researchers started asking a far more practical question. What could have actually created the footprints? Over the years, countless theories have been proposed. One of the earliest suggestions was that the tracks belonged to small animals, such as mice, rabbits, or badgers. During winter, these animals often move across snow-covered fields, and changing temperatures can distort their footprints. As the snow melts and refreezes, small prints can expand into larger, hoof-like shapes. At first, this explanation sounded reasonable, but there was a problem. Small animals rarely travel in perfectly straight lines for miles. They also don't leave identical footprints across rooftops, high stone walls, and other seemingly impossible locations. Another theory involved birds. Some scientists suggested that birds hopping through the snow might have created unusual patterns. Wind, drifting snow, and melting ice could have blurred the marks into shapes that resembled tiny hooves. Again, the idea explains some of the tracks, but not all of them. Then came one of the strangest theories of all. According to local stories, an exotic kangaroo had reportedly escaped from a private menagerie around the same time. Since kangaroos move by hopping, some people wondered whether the mysterious prints could have belonged to the escaped animal. It was certainly an unusual idea, but there was no solid evidence that such a kangaroo had traveled across dozens of villages, crossed frozen rivers, climbed rooftops, and then vanished without leaving any trace. Over time, investigators realized something important. Many of the original reports didn't completely agree with one another. Some newspapers described long, continuous trails. Others mentioned separate groups of footprints found in different locations. This raised another possibility: that several unrelated animal tracks, distorted by weather and combined through rumor, had gradually become one enormous mystery. In other words, the legend may have grown larger than the event itself. Yet even today, historians cannot say with certainty exactly what happened on that snowy morning in 1855. Every theory answers a few questions, but every theory leaves behind new ones. And perhaps that's why the devil's footprints continue to fascinate people around the world. Because sometimes, the most unforgettable mysteries are not the ones we solve. They're the ones that refuse to give us a final answer. In the final chapter, we'll explore why this case still captures imaginations more than 170 years later, and whether the greatest mystery was never the footprints themselves, but the fear they left behind. The Devil's Footprints That Appeared Overnight. Part 5. A Mystery That Refuses to Die. More than 170 years have passed since that snowy morning in Devon. The footprints disappeared long ago. The snow melted. The witnesses passed away, and the villages returned to normal. But the mystery never did. Even today, historians continue to examine newspaper archives, personal letters, and eyewitness reports, hoping to uncover one overlooked detail that could finally explain what happened in February 1855. Yet despite decades of research, no single explanation has been accepted by everyone. Perhaps that's because the devil's footprints represent something larger than a set of strange marks in the snow. They remind us how easily an ordinary event can become extraordinary when fear, uncertainty, and human imagination collide. Imagine living in a quiet village with no modern cameras, no internet, and no instant communication. You wake up to discover impossible-looking footprints outside your home. Your neighbors have seen the same thing. The local newspaper has no answers. Even the people investigating the mystery are confused. In that moment, what would you believe? Would you trust logic, or would you believe the terrifying stories whispered by everyone around you? That question is exactly why this mystery has survived for generations. Whether the tracks were created by weather, animals, a combination of natural events, or something that has never been fully understood, the truth may never be known with complete certainty. And perhaps that's the reason this story still fascinates millions of people around the world. Not because we know the answer, but because we don't. Some mysteries eventually fade into history. Others become legends. The devil's footprints became both. So the next time you wake up after a fresh snowfall, take a careful look outside your window. If you found a single line of strange hoof-shaped footprints leading into the distance, would you dare follow them? Or would you quietly close the door and pretend you never saw them? Sometimes the greatest mystery isn't what left the footprints. It's why they were never truly explained. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know your theory in the comments. What do you think really happened in Devon on that cold winter morning of 1855? The Devil's Footprints that appeared overnight. Part 6. The legend lives on. History is full of mysteries. Some are eventually solved. Others slowly disappear from public memory. But every once in a while, a mystery survives for centuries, not because of what people know, but because of what they can never prove. The Devil's Footprints are one of those mysteries. Today, the story is still discussed by historians, paranormal researchers, and mystery enthusiasts around the world. Old newspaper reports have been carefully studied, witness accounts have been compared, and scientists have proposed countless explanations. Yet no theory has managed to answer every question. If the tracks were made by animals, how did they appear in so many different locations? If melting snow changed ordinary footprints into strange shapes, why did so many witnesses describe nearly identical patterns? And if the reports were exaggerated over time, how much of the original story has been lost forever? These unanswered questions are exactly what keep the mystery alive. Perhaps the real lesson isn't whether the devil walked across Devon. Perhaps it's a reminder of how mysterious the world can seem when people are faced with something they cannot immediately explain. Long before security cameras, satellites, and smartphones, a single unexplained event could become a legend that lasted for generations. Even today, if the same thing happened, would we really find the answer? Or would millions of people simply argue about it online, each convinced that their theory was correct? Maybe that's why this story continues to fascinate us, because it sits perfectly between history and folklore, between science and superstition, between fact and imagination. And until undeniable evidence is discovered, the devil's footprints will remain exactly what they've always been. One of the greatest unsolved mysteries ever recorded. Now it's your turn. What do you think happened on that snowy morning in Devon, England? Was it nothing more than a rare natural phenomenon, a misunderstood trail left by animals? Or was there something else walking through the snow that night? Leave your theory in the comments below, because sometimes the best mysteries are the ones that never reveal their final answer.